Pam Bondi's face filled the Fox News screen, her expression cold and calculated. "Representative Crockett needs to understand something," Bondi said, leaning forward. "There are consequences for interfering with Justice Department operations. We have tools at our disposal." The host nodded eagerly. "What kind of tools?" "FBI Director Patel and I have discussed this extensively. Congress doesn't get to harass our nominees without accountability." Jasmine Crockett watched from her office, her phone already buzzing with alerts. Staffers crowded around the television. "Is she seriously threatening you on live TV?" her chief of staff asked. Crockett didn't answer. She was already thinking 3 steps ahead. Within minutes her secure line rang. Unknown number. "Representative Crockett," the voice was male, nervous. "I'm an FBI agent. We need to talk, now." They met in a parking garage 2 hours later. The agent wore civilian clothes, his hands shaking as he handed over a manila folder. "I can't believe I'm doing this," he said. "But what they're making us do, it's illegal." Crockett opened the folder. Her eyes widened. Operation Congressional Oversight. Her name was at the top. Surveillance authorization signed by Kash Patel himself. Request originated from Pam Bondi's office. "They've been watching you for 3 weeks," the agent said. "Your calls, your emails, your financial records. Everything. Why are you telling me this?" The agent's jaw tightened. "Because we found something else. Something they ordered us to bury." He pulled out another document. Bank records. Wire transfers. All pointing to Pam Bondi. $47,000 from Zelensky Energy Holdings, a Ukrainian company with active business before the Justice Department. Never disclosed. Never reported. "Patel saw these records 2 days ago," the agent continued. "He ordered us to delete them, said it was outside our investigative scope. Then he told us to focus entirely on building a case against you." Crockett's mind raced. "Can you testify to this?" "I can do better." The agent held up a small recording device. "I recorded his orders, and I have the phone call." "What phone call?" "Between Patel and Bondi, discussing the whole operation, how they'd use the FBI to intimidate Congress, how they'd protect each other." Crockett took the recorder. "You know what this means for your career?" "I know what it means for my country if I stay silent." Crockett returned to her office and called an emergency meeting with her legal team. They had less than 2 hours before the House floor session. "We need to verify everything," her attorney said, spreading documents across the conference table. "There's no time for a full verification," Crockett replied. "But we can confirm the basic facts." Her team split up. One group called sources at the FBI. Another reached out to banking experts. A third began drafting her floor speech. The confirmations came quickly. Too quickly. "The operation exists," one aide reported. "Multiple agents are aware of it." "The wire transfers are real," another confirmed. "Zelensky Energy Holdings has 3 pending matters before DOJ. Bondi never disclosed these payments on any ethics forms." Crockett's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "They know you have something. Patel just called an emergency meeting with senior staff. Be careful." She had 47 minutes until floor session. "Let's go," she told her team. "It's time." The House chamber was half empty when Crockett approached the podium. She requested time to speak on a matter of urgent national importance. The speaker granted her 5 minutes. 96 minutes ago," Crockett began, her voice steady, "I received credible evidence that the FBI, under Director Kash Patel's direct orders, conducted an illegal surveillance operation against a sitting member of Congress. Against me." Heads turned. Phones came out. The chamber began to fill. "This operation, codenamed Congressional Oversight, was requested by Pam Bondi as retaliation for my legitimate oversight of Justice Department nominees." She held up the authorization document. "But the FBI agents conducting this illegal investigation discovered something their superiors didn't expect them to find. Financial records showing that Miss Bondi secretly received $47,000 from Zelensky Energy Holdings, a Ukrainian energy company with active business before the Justice Department." Gasps rippled through the chamber. Payments she never disclosed. Payments that represent clear conflicts of interest. When Director Patel learned of these records, he didn't report them. He didn't investigate them. He ordered his agents to delete them and refocus entirely on manufacturing a case against me. Her 5 minutes expired. She requested additional time. Granted. "I have the written orders. I have the wire transfers. I have the ethics violations, and I have a recording." She played it. Patel's voice filled the chamber. We need to bury the Bondi stuff. It complicates everything. Focus on Crockett. Find something we can use. Then Bondi's voice, from a different recording. Kash promised me the FBI would handle the Crockett problem. We just need to keep her distracted long enough. Silence. Complete silence. I am entering all of this evidence into the congressional record. I am calling for Director Patel's immediate resignation, and I am requesting the Attorney General appoint a special prosecutor to investigate both Director Patel and Ms. Bondi for obstruction of justice, abuse of power, and corruption. She stepped away from the podium. The chamber erupted. Within an hour, every major news outlet had the story. The documents were verified. The recordings were authenticated. Patel's office issued a brief statement. The director stands by his actions in defense of national security. Bondi's lawyers claimed the payments were legal consulting fees, but couldn't explain why they weren't disclosed. By evening, 3 more FBI whistleblowers came forward. They confirmed the operation. They confirmed Patel's orders. They confirmed the cover-up. Senators from both parties demanded hearings. The Inspector General opened an investigation. The Office of Special Counsel began a preliminary review. Patel's support crumbled. By midnight, sources close to the White House said he'd been asked to resign. He refused. But 2 days later, facing bipartisan calls for impeachment and criminal referrals, he submitted his resignation. Bondi's legal practice collapsed. Clients dropped her. Partners distanced themselves. Federal prosecutors opened a criminal investigation into the Ukrainian payments. The FBI agents who participated in the illegal surveillance received immunity in exchange for testimony. Crockett held a press conference. "This was never about me," she said. "This was about whether we would allow law enforcement to be weaponized against Congress, whether we would allow corruption to hide behind badges and authority." "What happens next?" a reporter asked. "Justice," Crockett replied, "for everyone involved." 3 weeks later, the Justice Department's internal investigation revealed the operation was even larger than initially reported. 7 members of Congress had been targeted. All had been investigating Trump-aligned officials. Bondi's financial records showed additional payments, nearly $2 million total from various entities with business before DOJ. Congressional hearings began. Patel refused to testify, citing his Fifth Amendment rights. Bondi appeared but gave evasive answers. Her lawyers objected to nearly every question. But the whistleblower agents testified. They provided details, names, dates, orders. The FBI director position remained vacant for months. Trust in the agency hit historic lows. Reform legislation moved through Congress. New protections for whistleblowers. Stricter ethics requirements. Independent oversight of political investigations. Crockett became the face of congressional oversight. Interview requests flooded in. Speaking invitations multiplied. But she kept her focus narrow. "We prevented something worse," she told her staff. "But the system that allowed this is still there. We have more work to do." 14 months after Crockett's floor speech, federal prosecutors brought charges. Patel, obstruction of justice, abuse of power, conspiracy to violate civil rights. Bondi, wire fraud, ethics violations, conspiracy to obstruct justice. The trial lasted 7 weeks. The evidence was overwhelming. FBI agents testified. Documents were presented. Recordings were played. Patel's defense argued he was protecting national security. The jury didn't buy it. Bondi's lawyers claimed she didn't know the payments were problematic. The wire transfers said otherwise. Guilty on multiple counts, both of them. Sentencing came 3 months later. Patel, 6 years federal prison. Bondi, 4 years federal prison. Both were immediately disbarred. Crockett attended the sentencing hearing. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. As she left the courthouse, reporters surrounded her. "How does this feel?" one asked. "Like the system worked," Crockett said. "Barely. But it worked." "What's next for you?" She smiled. "More oversight. Always more oversight." 2 years after that night on the House floor, Crockett gave a speech at a law school. Students packed the auditorium. They wanted to know how she'd done it. "I didn't do anything heroic," she told them. "I just refused to be intimidated. And I had help from people who put their careers on the line because they believed in something bigger than themselves." "What advice would you give us?" a student asked. "Keep documents. Build relationships with good people in every agency. And never assume that power protects people from consequences. Sometimes it does. But not always. Do you think what happened to Patel and Bondi will stop others? Crockett paused. No. There will always be people who think they can abuse power without consequences. But there will also always be people willing to stand up to them. Be one of those people. The whistleblower agent, now retired and working as a security consultant, watched from the back of the room. After the speech, they spoke briefly. Any regrets? Crockett asked. Not one, he said. You? Only that it took so long. They shook hands and went separate ways. The story became a case study. Books were written, documentaries were made, but for Crockett it was just another day of oversight. Another fight to ensure power answered to the people. Another reminder that democracy required constant vigilance. She went back to work. There were always more investigations to conduct, more questions to ask, more people in power who needed watching. And she would be there, ready, always ready.